Hey everyone, my name is Amanda and this is my weight loss journey as someone who has lost 50 pounds in the last year. I have PCOS and I was diagnosed with prediabetes and I've since reversed it. And so in today's video, I'm just going to share with you what that journey looked like. So over the pandemic, I gained a fair amount of weight. I want to say somewhere along the lines of 30 to 40 pounds. And so for most of my life, I've been around, I would say like 150, 160. And at one point in the pandemic, I was around 200 pounds. And so it's kind of hard for me to say that because during that time, I felt a lot of shame and embarrassment for that number. And I know a lot of people watching this might be thinking like the number on the scale does not matter, but it really did matter to me. And although I didn't really know it at the time, I was very self-conscious about my body, my weight, how I looked in clothing. And I did know it, and I did know that my confidence suffered because of it, but I didn't realize to what degree, because there was a point in the pandemic where I thought that I just didn't care about clothing anymore. As somebody who enjoyed wearing different clothes and kind of accessorizing and being cute, whatever, I found myself just wearing really baggy clothes and telling myself that I was a minimalist and I didn't care about clothes. But now that I've lost the weight, I can look back and see that I was essentially lying to myself. I was really actively trying to hide my body and blend into the background. So now that I feel like a lot more confident in my body, I get a lot more excited about going shopping and finding clothes that fit my body and being able to express myself through my clothing. So what I didn't know was that I was living with PCOS. So in 2023, I was diagnosed with PCOS. And like the way I got my diagnosis was because my husband and I had been trying to have kids for, I want to say a year at that point, and with no luck. And so I went to my family doctor, told her about the situation, and she started doing some tests on me. And then that revealed some cysts on my ovaries. And as I dug into the world of PCOS, I realized that some PCOS can come with insulin resistance, which is not the case for everyone, but was the case for me. It was a bit of a learning curve at first, felt very overwhelmed. And honestly, I felt like I had to grieve my old life because my lifestyle before was not going to help me become the person I wanted to be. So I had to really change up how I move my body, the foods I eat, and the ways I view a healthy lifestyle. Especially if I wanted to be successful in becoming a mom and getting pregnant and all that sort of thing. And so this last year and a bit has been a really transformative experience for me, not only because I learned how to live with PCOS and reverse my prediabetes and lose weight, but I've also gained so much confidence along the way. And so today I'm just going to share with you all of the things that I think really made a difference for me. Okay, so I have a list. And the first thing on my list is food. What I did first was I tried a keto diet. Like I mentioned, I have insulin resistance, and so I know that the chemistry is different for me than it is for another person. And so one of the things I did was I read this book called The Obesity Code by Jason Fung, and it taught me about the science of food, which was super powerful because then when I looked at food, I didn't just see, a cake. I saw a chemical process that would happen in my body, and it allowed me to feel like a different way about those foods. I wasn't just thinking about how amazing it was going to taste. I was thinking about the mess it would cause inside my body. And so I haven't stuck keto. I don't eat keto anymore, but in the first couple of months, it really helped get the ball rolling and allow me to see some progress. And I think seeing progress has always pushed me to keep going. And so that's what I did first, is I tried a keto diet, and it helped me lose at least 10 to 15, maybe to 20 pounds. Another thing I did is I avoid pastas, rice, potatoes, and I switch all of that up for roasted vegetables. And this allows me to get more fiber in my diet. And honestly, it's made a big difference for me. Another thing I did was I tried intermittent fasting and extended fasting. So with intermittent fasting, I practice a 16-8 eating window, which means that I don't eat for 16 hours of the day. And so I eat from 12 to 8, and sometimes I try to extend that to 18 hours. If I had like a big treat the day before, like a cake or something like that, then I might extend it to longer. But it really, I just kind of try to do the best that I can. Another thing I did and committed to was I avoided all alcohol and all marijuana. So I did this because I found that when I went out with my friends and had, some drinks, it would ultimately end up with me binging. And that's something that I struggle with, is eating too much when I'm not hungry and letting that get out of hand, essentially. And so I didn't want to put myself in a situation where that could be an option. And so ultimately I just stopped drinking. And honestly, I think that made a big difference. And a lot of people say that if you do that, it's easier to lose weight. Another thing that I did was I kept a food diary. And so anytime I ate foods outside of my diet or out of my regimen, I would write down how that food made me feel the next day. And so that way, if I wanted to eat that meal again, I would go back into my food diary and read some of those entries. And honestly, that diary helped me avoid some foods because I didn't want to have those feelings later on. Now, moving on to exercise. So I weight train now 3 times a week, and I usually jump from doing arms to core, back, and legs. And so every day is a little bit different when I work out. But typically 3 times a week on minimum is how I work out. I also, along with weight training, focus a lot on cardio. And so I found something that I enjoy, which is cycling. I try to do that for a minimum of 1 hour a day. And that's been really good for me, and also makes me feel good. And you can't put a price on that. The last thing that really helped me in my journey was surrounding myself with people with mindsets that I wanted to have as well. Because I found that listening to them and seeing them be consistent really reinforced my motivations to stay on this journey. So yeah, that's essentially it. Up until this point, I've lost 50 pounds. So that's, I believe, 23 kilos. I could be wrong. But it feels surreal to say 50 pounds out loud, because I had a goal of losing 40 pounds and I've surpassed that. And when I set that goal, it didn't feel like it was actually going to happen, and it has. Beyond everything I've shared in this video, the number one thing that helped me was consistency and believing in myself. And so if you're on this journey too, I wish you best of luck. And if you have any questions or just want to connect and grow your community of people on health journeys, feel free to reach out and connect with me. Anyways, thanks for watching this video, and I hope to see you around again. Bye.